This is Ian Cameron for Sportsbook Review with your college football Week 8 betting preview. We're going to run through many of the highlight matchups taking place on Saturday in college football action, and we'll give you a Play of the Week winner at the end of the video. Let's begin with Virginia, North Carolina, a big ACC matchup. We had a Play of the Week winner last week in our video for the college football preview with North Carolina, North Kakalake taking care of business, winning outright as underdogs against the Miami Hurricanes. A solid win for them, even though they didn't really get their offense going. It was not a vintage North Carolina offensive performance by any stretch. They win 20-13. They had lots of chances, but Mitch Trubisky and the offense didn't really get things fully clicking in that football game. But their defense sure turned it up. They really made Miami. They got off the field on third down on defense, forced Miami into some mistakes that really hurt them, and a much better defensive performance from this North Carolina team in that victory. We'll see if they can bring it here against Virginia. This is always a trickier price range for me to trust North Carolina in. You look at them in games where they've been asked to lay points this year. Yeah, they beat Illinois and covered in this price range as a road favorite, but against Pittsburgh as a north of a touchdown favorite. They only won that game by a single point. They're a very good underdog team, this North Carolina team, but still have some issues and some question marks about their ability to cover point spreads in terms of as favorites. We'll see if they can do it here. I don't know if I trust Virginia's offense with Kurt Benkert to keep up with North Carolina for the full 60 minutes, although I do think they will be able to score some points. And Virginia's the red-hot point spread team prior to last week, where they finally lost to the number, losing 45-31 against Pittsburgh. So we'll see what they do here. Lean to the over in this game, but it's already moved quite a bit. It's gone up from 65 to 69, but I do think we see a high-scoring game. And I do think it's a little bit too much points with North Carolina. Slight lean to Virginia, but stronger lean to the over in that game. All right, next up on the slate for Saturday, how about, let me just see here, Colorado-Stanford. There we go. That's the next one on the schedule. Colorado-Stanford, Pac-12 matchup. I'll tell you what, this is a very, very shocking point spread, I guess you could say. It would have been prior to the season. There's no way Stanford would have been a 2-point home favorite against Colorado. No way. Not a chance. But the fact of the matter is, Stanford's not been anywhere near as good as they've been in the past. Colorado's been a lot better than they've been in the past, and the result here is a competitively lined game. And I think Colorado is the better of these teams right now. So I'm definitely leaning Buffaloes here with Colorado +2. Sefo Lufau has been great running this new up-tempo offense here for the Buffaloes this season, putting up big numbers on a weekly basis, which you really like to see, and it's been a positive development. On the flip side, Ryan Burns, the quarterback for Stanford, it has been a rough go for him. It's been like this Stanford offense just doesn't have many playmakers, especially with Christian McCaffrey out due to injury. He may return this week. He's listed as questionable right now, but either way, I don't trust this Stanford offense. I think Colorado's offense capable of taking advantage of some cluster injuries that Stanford is still dealing with in the secondary. And let's be honest, is Stanford really back on track? They lost 2 bad games to the Washington schools, the Huskies and the Cougars, not even close in either game. And even at Notre Dame last week, yeah, they come back and win 17-10, but they get outgained by 11 yards. Their offense can't barely do anything against a horrible Notre Dame defense. I've got my concerns about Stanford. I'm not sure I'm sold on them being back on track because you beat a lowly, underachieving Notre Dame football team last week. I think Colorado going to win this game outright. I would lean to the Buffaloes +2 in that one. Mississippi, LSU. Fascinating matchup here in the SEC. Very tough spot for Ole Miss. When you look at what Ole Miss has gone through in recent games, they've had a lot of tough games on their schedule. You just worry that maybe the gas tank for this football team could be running out on E, and that's the biggest concern you have on them. Meanwhile, LSU, look at the way they have played since Ed Orgeron took over as the head coach. I mean, definitely seeing a more of a up-tempo, open the playbook, throw the football around kind of offense from this LSU team. And it's also showing in their numbers that they've been able to put up big-time numbers in their recent games. They've been able to run the football. And even though Leonard Fournette's been out, Darius Guice, has just done a fantastic job here for this LSU team. really done a phenomenal job running the football. There's no question about that. So, it's a very deep stable of running backs here for this LSU team. Laying 6.5. I agree with the number going up from the opener of 4. LSU about -6.5 right now in this game. Now, you do have to caution something here. In the 2 games since Orgeron became the interim coach, they beat Missouri and Southern Miss. Not exactly cream of the crop competition by any stretch. But I still have my questions with Ole Miss here. They're off an absolute barn burner last week. A tough loss to Arkansas, 34-30. Again, the defense just couldn't get stops when they needed it. And now that they've suffered their 3rd loss of the season, it's a team that had, expectations probably of at least, being a contender for the SEC championship. That's probably out the window now with that loss last week. You just worry that focus and intensity not going to be as sharp for Ole Miss in this game following that tough loss last week. So I agree with the line move toward LSU. I think it's getting a little bit rich for my blood now at -6.5. But it would lean to the Tigers, would lean over the total as well, 60.5 there. Ole Miss, their game went over the total against Arkansas last week, and you look at LSU there, definitely more of a, open style offense, opening things up type of team now since the coaching change. So we'll lean LSU and the over in that game. Next up on our preview, Arkansas Auburn, another SEC battle. Tough spot here for Arkansas. They're a team that has played Alabama and Ole Miss in back-to-back weeks. So now you got to play a 3rd straight big game here against Auburn. You just worry that the gas tank running on empty a little bit for Arkansas. That's probably a big reason why we've seen Auburn take money throughout the course of the week. Auburn was about 7.5, 8-point favorite. They're up to 10 now, laying double digits. Auburn off a bye week. That's something that obviously the betting public is very pro Auburn with, the fact that they're well rested off a bye, and Arkansas coming off these 2 grueling games back to back against Bama and Ole Miss. That being said, situation favors Auburn, but all the point spread value at the current number to me is on Arkansas. I could only back Arkansas at +10 here at the current number. I still think Arkansas, the better of these 2 teams, if you ask me. Austin Allen, I like this quarterback. I think he's even better than Brandon Allen, the previous Arkansas quarterback. More accurate with the football. He's got great numbers. They can run the football at you. Now, Auburn's offense has perked up. They made a little bit of a change in terms of play calling. And since then, 2 games, they've looked really good. But Monroe, 58 points they put up. 38 points against Mississippi State. Now you're playing a better team, though, so we'll see if Auburn's offense can keep rolling. I think they have the chance to because of the fact they have a bye week. Gus Malzahn's a guy that when it comes to offense, you give him a bye week and time to prepare. He's usually going to put in a very good game plan to be successful. So I think the price is just a bit too high, even though the spot and the situation favors Auburn. I would lean Arkansas. I think the better play, though, is over the total. I think we'll get points and get that one over 55.5. Ohio State, Penn State, a Big Ten showdown in Happy Valley on Saturday night. Wow. I respect the hell out of Ohio State, and they got a big scare from Wisconsin last week, surviving in overtime, and I'm not really ready to go against them, but I don't know if the value is there to back Ohio State in this game either. 19.5 on the road, 2nd straight road game for the Buckeyes after an overtime affair last week against Wisconsin. Now, do you trust Penn State, or do I trust Penn State on the other side? I'm not sure I do. Trace McSorley and the offense has been a little up and down. I don't know if I trust their defense to get stops here against J.T. Barrett. The weather conditions might favor Penn State. There is expected to be some rain, potential wind for this game between the Buckeyes and Nittany Lions on Saturday night. If that could slow down Ohio State a little bit, situationally it definitely favors Penn State, but I just don't know if I trust the matchup. I tell you what, the number's too high to back Ohio State for me. If I had to, gun to my head, lean Penn State plus 19.5, but I think there's better games on the card from a betting standpoint than this one. Fascinating game to watch, but from a betting standpoint, not likely to get involved there. And Texas A&M, Alabama, the big game, I guess you could say, of the day. Number 1 versus number 6 in terms of rankings. 2 undefeated teams. Hell of a showdown this should be, and yet the number 1 team is against the number 6 team. Let's keep in mind what the rankings are. Yet, what's the point spread in this game? Yeah, Alabama's laying almost 3 touchdowns. That tells you how well respected this Alabama team is in the betting markets right now, and it's easy to see why. They can score on offense with Jalen Hurts and the great running back tandem that they have. With a great receiving core led by Calvin Ridley. They can score on offense. They can score on special teams. They've got a great kick return game that can put up points and give them short fields to work with on offense. And they can score on defense. They have scored a defensive touchdown in I think something like 10 or 11 consecutive games. Unbelievable from this Alabama team. And that's the reason why they're covering point spreads really, it seems, on a weekly basis for the most part, especially when they play these Power 5 and SEC foes. I mean, you look at the last 2 weeks against Arkansas and Tennessee on the road, 49-30 over Arkansas, 49-10 over Tennessee, just putting up boatloads of points. You look at this Alabama team, the points they've put up, 52, 38, 48, 48, 34, 49, 49. And they can score in all three phases of the game, offense, defense, special teams. So from a totals perspective, ain't no way in hell I'm betting this game under. Not a chance. Not even maybe. Even at 58.5. Alabama can score every which way. They're going to be a very big handful here for this Texas A&M team. Let's give A&M credit. There's a very good team. It's a better A&M team than they've had in years past, but can Trevor Knight, even though he's been capable, can he make enough plays throwing the football to keep Texas A&M in it? He's a good running quarterback, but he's been very inconsistent and mediocre with the passing game. He's going to have to be better at that if Texas A&M's going to have a shot of hanging around in this game. I know it's a very, very big tax you have to pay to back Alabama right now. They are not a cheap team in the point spread, in the betting markets right now, but I just cannot go against them at this moment. I think there is value on A&M, but when you got an Alabama team that can score in three different phases, that's going to be a tough test here for a Texas A&M team. And let's not forget, A&M the last 2 years against Bama, losing 59-0 and 41-23. Not even close in either game. So the value's there in the point spread with A&M, but I don't think I can trust them just yet, even though they are a better team. So going to leave that game alone. Maybe this game gets over the total, though, if Alabama continues to put up points on defense like they have in so many games. So lean to the over at 58.5. All right, let's wrap this video up with play of the week in college football for Week 8. We're going to go to the TCU West Virginia game. And I'll tell you what, people really seem to love this West Virginia team. They can't get enough of West Virginia right now after that big-time victory they had against Texas Tech last week. Very impressive, just completely dismantled the Red Raiders in that game. But I would caution everybody on getting too carried away with your I guess, belief in this West Virginia team. I mean, we're still talking about a West Virginia team that's got a lot to prove. You look at Kansas State at home. They barely won that game, didn't cover. Against BYU, they only win that game by 3 points, didn't cover. Prior to that, they played who? Youngstown State and Missouri. Not exactly a great caliber of competition there. I certainly like the offense. I think their defense is a lot better than it's been in past editions of this West Virginia team under head coach Dana Holgorsen, but they're going to have to show me that they can hang here and play just as good against a much better caliber of opponent in TCU. Now, I know with TCU it's been a little hit or miss for them. I mean, they've lost to Arkansas, they've lost to Oklahoma. Those are their only two losses, and they lose those games by 6 against Oklahoma and by 3 against Arkansas. So, TCU has looked, Kenny Hill, the Texas A&M transfer, has been a little bit disappointing at times. I think the bye week for TCU is really going to help them, though. I think you're going to see this offense come out with a game plan. I love having Gary Patterson, the TCU head coach, with extra time to prepare. He has been absolutely phenomenal off a bye week as the head coach of this TCU team. How phenomenal? How about 12-1 straight up for TCU under Gary Patterson coming off the bye? And in fact, they were off a bye last year when they played this West Virginia team, and they proceeded to dismantle West Virginia 40-10. So you're going to tell me that now all of a sudden they beat West Virginia by 30 last year. There's all of a sudden this big gap, and now West Virginia's laying almost a touchdown in this game. I'm not ready to buy it just yet. Gary Patterson said he wanted to make his team tougher out of the bye week. He really challenged this team to be a tougher football team. I think it's going to show up on the field here. Let's make it official. Let's take TCU plus 6.5. That's rotation number 325. TCU Horned Frogs plus 6.5. They should be able to take this game down to the wire, and if they win it outright, it wouldn't shock me. TCU plus 6.5. It's your Week 8 college football play of the week. All right, that's going to wrap up my look at college football for Week 8. I'm Ian Cameron for Sportsbook Review. Until next time, enjoy the games and good.
Always on the go? Bet365 has one of the top mobile platforms in today's market. Sign up today and don't let your busy life keep you out of the game.